Just admit it. This is opinion hated.
Centric, 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 centric.
What's up? How y'all doing, man? Welcome to the first episode of Opinion Hated. I'm Raymann.
I'm Big Lowe. What's up, y'all?
And we got two special guests in the house. You know what I mean? The whole topic of the show is meant for you to be able to understand the perspective of somebody that's coming from a place like this back to a place where we need to be. You hear me? Tell them who you are, peeps. Let them know who you are and what type of time you done did.
X Factor, man. I did 25 years, 25 calendars. And
25
I'm blessed to be able to be here today to share with you my story, share with you my journey, and share with you my life's journey. My life's walk.
There it is. There it is. You know, one of the main things that I want to touch on with you, though, bro, I want to be able to understand, because, 25 years is a long time doing the joint, man.
Long time.
You know what I mean?
Grew up in that motherfucker.
I grew up in that motherfucker.
Yes,
So,
sir.
what year you went down?
I went down in 1996, April 1996.
Damn, that's a long time ago. But do you mind telling the people your crime, what it is that you did?
I was charged with 2 first-degree murders, 5 ACAs, and 3 assaults.
You have any co-defendants on your case?
I have a co-defendant with me. We caught this case together, and they charged us similarly.
That's right.
Well, for people that don't know what assembly means, what
Well,
does that mean?
When they charged us, they charged him with the same crime they charged me with. So we got charged with the same thing.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Now, with that being said, right, do you feel like your time was deserved, what it is that you did? You know what I mean?
Well, I've been asked this question a lot of times, right? And one thing I learned about life now is no do-overs. It ain't no start over. So you have to be accountable for your actions. But with that being said, the people that were victims of this crime, they can't speak, So I'm speaking on the behalf of everything that's going on. And with that being said, who's to say that this time was adequate? This time was not adequate, because I could still be doing time. I just believe that I was blessed enough while showing the Department of Corrections, Missouri Department of Corrections, that I was in a redeemable state, meaning that I was eligible to be returned into society.
You definitely blessed, because you got your a beautiful woman right here by your side now.
Yes,
Who is
sir.
this to you?
Now this is my lovely wife, Letitia, and I met her on the way coming home about 2 years before I came home, and I believe that every man should have that soldier or that pillar in their lives. Coming home after doing a lot of time like I've done a lot of time. You need that soldier. You need that ambassador. You need that liaison. You know, you need that tour guide. You know, and I'm
That's
blessed
your
to have
rider.
that.
That's your rider. Huh?
This is my rider. She's
There
my
it is.
everything.
There it is.
You know, yes, sir.
There it is. Everybody needs them peeps because you know what I'm saying.
She's a pillar. You know, when you talk about a pillar, it's the cornerstone, and when you are building a building, it has that pillar that's going to make sure the building is sturdy.
Is that what you looking for?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me know.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So how exactly did y'all meet? Because you was locked up and she was out here. So how did y'all paths cross each other?
Well, you know, a lot of guys in prison, you know, when you doing as much time as I've done time, you get lonely. Sometimes it gets dark. Sometimes it get to where you don't have nobody but yourself. But I was blessed through my niece, family member,
Yeah.
to introduce us, and this is how Mrs. Turner came into my life. It was a friend from a friend, but my niece introduced us.
Was that one of them things where it'd be like, dang, who over there with you? Who was that over there with you, Pete?
In the background or something.
Let me explain that.
Something like that.
You know, being in prison and doing how much time I've done, you know, every time I call somebody or one of my loved ones, I'm always listening in the background.
Trying to
and
shoot a shot.
Yeah, listen. To where, who is that girl in the background? Who is that female voice?
Yeah.
You know, and our family, sometimes they are kind of hesitant because they don't know how the opposite party is going to receive the type of person they're dealing with on the other line. He's a lifer. He's this, he's that, he's this. So it's a stereotype that come with that. However, you know, you are a mutual friend / family of the family.
Yeah.
You know, so that gave me a direct line into meeting her, but I'll have a story to tell. You know, me being in my mindset that I had at the time, you know, I'm thinking that she's going to go for my little, you know, my little 1-2.
Your little gang,
You know,
your
my little gang.
Yeah.
You know, my little, she shot that down.
Right.
Oh, my
Outright rejected that.
So
That
so
made you-
You wasn't with it?
No.
You know,
When we
I'm
first got on the
now?
phone, no, he talking about when he first got on the phone.
the first
with me.
initial
You
meeting.
was persistent,
He
wasn't
wasn't talking about
He wasn't talking about nothing.
nothing.
Know what we want
You
to
know,
hear.
I'm coming.
When you
Well-
come to see me,
Yeah, what you want to see me
I hope
for?
your pocket's right because I'm eventually trying to talk
Nah,
to y'all some
I
money.
ain't talking
Yeah,
about
you
that.
know,
Bottom
is you gonna
line.
pay how
Yeah.
you weigh?
None of that.
Yeah.
You gonna pay how you weigh?
Right.
You know,
Nah.
so that initial advance was a rejection. No, I'm not interested.
I wasn't listening to
But
it.
the energy she gave me when we met, I said, wait a minute, it's something
Flipped
here.
your switch, huh?
Yeah.
Flipped your switch.
So she allowed me to have a second chance to come back to say, okay, well, let me put on my suit and tie and be a grown man and really adhere to what this woman is talking about. She on her grown woman time. And that's the second time. And that's the second time when we start mission and when we start mushing together and we start establishing a rapport together.
And you said, this the nigga for me, huh? Listen to him talk. Listen to him talk on this phone. This
Yeah,
my
yeah.
dude, huh? That was how it went.
Quickly.
Yeah, so
became
what
my
made
boo.
you, even though you know this man is in jail, he's in life, you know all this, so what made you still go, okay, I'm going to give him a shot, even after he
I'm
tried
going to
went
take
there.
a chance.
It
I'm going
was-
to take a
what
chance
made-
on
It
It
was
went
that.
the
there.
conversation and chemistry. Like he started talking about something. You know, he wasn't just sitting there.
Brought some substance.
I got life
Exactly.
goals. I got
Exactly.
dreams. I got ambitions. I really understand, and I'm striving to be what a man is supposed to be. I'm not with the foolishness
Oh,
no
man, let
more.
her finish. I wanted her to finish saying
Yes,
it.
sir.
You kind of took it over there. While
Go
she
ahead.
was
He
in the middle.
did.
Yeah,
He did.
let
I
her finish.
said, okay.
What
okay,
made you
let
really?
me
What
have it.
made you really like this? Because I know you done heard it before. That's what I'm saying.
No, actually, this is my first time ever taking any type of seriousness into somebody that's in jail,
Really?
that's been in jail for
That's
that
God said
long
right there, baby.
over time. Anybody
First
that
time?
know me know I'm like, you in jail, man, you better get on out of there.
Right. Because I would be telling my people that, like, what?
And talk to me when you get on
That's
out of
real.
there.
Wait till you
But-
get out.
That's just real.
But
If
I
I didn't
knew
know
a lot
you,
of his family members, you know.
So
that
it was a
kinda-
direct connect.
you
She
know,
knows
helped me.
all of my family. She never heard of me, but she know my family. She never heard of me prior to that meeting when we met.
Yeah.
In fact, that night we met, she had talked to my co-defendant hours earlier.
Oh, he was trying to shoot his shot.
That's a negative ghost.
No, he wasn't trying to shoot a shot, but she had talked to
That's
him
a negative.
okay.
because we
Nah,
were setting
they-
up a conference call
they
so
were
where I could call
actually,
him.
Getting ready to have a little conversation.
Yeah.
A
through
conference
his-
call.
through
Yeah,
his
okay.
niece,
Yeah.
you know. So I happened to just be in the car the time they was orchestrating that. So yeah, he was on the phone and they were talking, and then he clicked in, and the rest is 2 years down the line.
You seen all hearts and Cupid done shot you 1,000,000 times. I know how it go. I went through the same thing. You hear me? Straight up.
And when you understand, see, and when
Yeah.
you've done as much time as I've done, you know, you do this time alone. Yeah, you have your family and your
Right.
whatnot, but you still doing time alone.
Yeah.
So you learn to understand and appreciate the presence of a significant other. You learn to appreciate that.
Yeah, I
You
can say
understand
that.
what
I
a
can say
woman's
that.
worth
You right.
is. After going through what I've went through, the journey that I've went through, you understand what a woman's worth is.
Now let's get off into this journey though.
Yes, sir.
You know, this journey started way back. You say it's
In 1996, April of 1996.
1996.
Yes, sir.
So before you committed your crime to go to the joint, do you feel like that was the direction in life you was headed?
Well, you know, I've been asked this question a lot. So it comes down to what I thought at the time what a man was.
And what was that?
A man was what I've seen and what I was raised up around. He's flashy. He got the women. He got the fine jewelry. He got the cars. He got all of those things that what I thought was a man, what a man was. So that's what I gravitated towards.
Now I'm
You
gonna
know,
ask
because-
you this. I'm gonna
Yes,
ask
sir.
you this because you say that's what you thought what a man was. Did
Be-
you have your father in your life?
Because I never had a father figure.
There it is.
See, I never had a true father. I don't know today who my father is. I've heard stories about him, but I don't know what a real father is. So when I see the guys in the neighborhood that was had all the women flocking to him, he was popular. He was the hype. He was the in thing. So this is what I believe what a man was. Because nobody taught me exactly what a man was. So this is what I gravitated toward. This is what my inspiration was. So when I seen that, this is what I thought a man was. Because I never had a man in my life. Yeah, it was, you know, you had your YMCA workers that was
counselors.
guidance counselors and, you know, things of that such.
Right.
You know, but after, you know, what you call them, mentors,
Yeah.
you know? But what was going on around me, what I seen
On a day-to-day basis.
on a day-to-day basis outweighed what the counselor was trying to tell me or what you call the mentors was trying to show me. It was a force outside of my gate that was calling me. You know, because this is what I thought a man was, the guy with the flashy rims, with the music playing loud, and all the girls is gravitating towards him, all the men were gravitating towards them. This is what I thought a man was supposed to be.
So with that being said, though, do you feel like you was gonna be headed in the direction of prison? Because I know we all, when we young, we just like, I'm having fun out here. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to. I never thought I'd go to the joint.
Well, you know, as naive as I was then, I thought that the things that I were engaging in, the worst come to worst, I would be locked up for a drug case.
Right, yeah.
Push gonna shove.
But but this how naive and immature I was. You engaging in activities that is a threat to your freedom.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't see that far though, because I'm immature. I'm an adolescent. I'm an adult. No excuses, but this is just the reality that I live in. So with that being said, I didn't have that range of vision to see the end game other than I might go to jail for a drug cases because this is what I'm into and this might happen. Not to really look at the range for it. Okay, you selling drugs, this brings this, and this comes with that.
Yeah.
And you are subjecting yourself to that when you engage in these type of activities. You know? So, no, I didn't see the full range of it as an adolescent adult. You know? As a teenager. As a teeny bopper.
You know, we just living day to day, man.
Living day to day, recklessly, with no abandon.
Having fun, doing what a young buck in the society.
Not understanding that with these actions come these consequences.
Hold on, Cuddy. Come on.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, out of everything you done been through in there, the good and the bad, did it make you a better person, preparing you for your queen to come home to her?
Well, you know, when you in prison, it's still the bad and the good. You can choose what road you're going to be led down while you're in prison, because you got everything that's known to man that's negative. The negative connotations that come with being in prison. And then you have this other side, but it's a conscious decision that I made while in prison. I don't want to continue to be this person that landed myself in prison with a life sentence. So now it's a conscious decision that need to be made. I can get all the foolishness and all the self-destructive behavior is there right there, because that comes with being in prison. Or I can decide to look this dude in the mirror, this person in the mirror, this persona in this mirror that called me Little D from this neighborhood, and I'm this type of person, and these personas and these masks that we put on. I can decide to consciously take these painful masks out and look at the real person in the mirror and decide to change, or I can still be this same person that I was.
The man in the mirror, baby.
The man in the mirror.
There it is.
Mike said a long time ago, you gotta search for the man in the mirror. It was painful and it was ugly and it hurted.
Yo, you know what though? I want to know about this thing after you committed the crime. Well, after you committed your crime, because most niggas, you know, they go to the county, wait on them to do their time or something. Did you feel like your life was over?
Well, you know, I've been asked this question a lot. And when I first got into the county jail on this case, you know, my mother is a strong believer in the Christian faith. And my mother used to always tell me to put your faith in Christ, right? Put your faith in Jesus.
That's what they say.
When I sit in that cell at night when I was facing double murder, Mama, I don't understand. Jesus ain't said nothing to me. This is not a knock on the Christian faith. Because if you put Jesus in your life and you make him a pillar in your life, then you will start to see the results.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to activate the Jesus within. So you telling me put my faith in Jesus, they talking about giving me life without parole. Mama, what are you talking about with Jesus? What do you mean, Jesus? She understood that Jesus is powerful, but she didn't tell me how to activate him. Meaning that when you practice these type of things spiritually, the principles that Jesus lived by, then it will get you through all trials and tribulations. She didn't tell me that then. So I had to fend for my own. I'm a 16-year-old kid facing double murder. Two first-degree murders which carry life without parole or death row. Mama, what do you mean, Jesus?
Now, how much time did they end up giving you all when it was said and done?
So I end up pleading guilty to snatch out on life with parole.
And for the people that don't know, life with parole, we know life without parole means pretty much you ain't never getting out.
You never getting out.
But life with parole means what?
Life with parole is mean that you are eligible for parole after 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can carry you to 30 years, but depending on your behavior while you're doing time in prison, it depends, it varies. But you are eligible for parole after doing a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Under the 85% clause, you have to do 85% of your time
Now, do you
before
feel,
you are deemed
do
eligible.
you feel that was just, though, for a young buck such as yourself, not even all the way of legal age yet?
Well, I've been asked that question a lot during my time.
Because they did change the law about that since, you know what I mean, since we done been,
They've changed
everything that
laws, being that the laws changed because it's deemed to be a cruel and
that's
unusual
exactly
punishment,
what it is for
right?
a minor to receive life with or without
At those certain ages.
Yeah.
However, I'm sitting here telling you as a free man today after doing all this time, it's no do-overs. I can't say magic wand bring these victims back. I was just I believe I was blessed to have a chance at parole because I showed these people I was deemed to be fit to return to society.
Because it ain't really designed for you to come home.
It's not designed for me to come home.
Especially at the age you went in there.
Yeah, a lot of dudes lose their way up in them, whether it's
And
mental thing or physical thing.
and it's so many guys that has lost their way, has lost their identity, has given up. It's forms of suicide. It's like, I'm never coming home, fuck it.
Yeah.
And they live accordingly. But something in me wanted me to change. This is not who you are, so you begin to painfully take off those personas, these masks that you put on. I'm Little D, I'm Crip this, I'm Blood this, I'm so-and-so Loke this, I'm Pistol Loke. All these personas that we take on deemed by some guy in the neighborhood that gave us these instructions.
Yeah. You know what, though?
Whether he consciously did it or not,
That's what I'm saying, though.
I wanna
A
be
lot of
like
times
him.
They don't even know that they doing that to you, though.
yeah,
You know
I
what
want to
mean?
be
Right.
like
Those done
him.
them.
The so-called OGs or the so-called
The OGs and the
that's
triple
a little bit
O's and the
older
big
all that.
homies and all these things.
They teaching a path of destruction.
Right,
Don't
but
even know.
you're teaching me self-destruction, self-sabotage. No excuses, because even at that age, I was deemed to know right from wrong. Yeah, scientists say about the immaturity of the brain at that age is not fully developed. Scientific facts would tell you that. I knew right from wrong, or at least I deemed to believe that.
Now let me ask you this: you had a paid lawyer or you had a public defender?
So let me tell you about that. I'm just gonna.
Because you know all that. You know, in my mind, it don't really even matter.
I'm gonna bluntly say it, right? If you into the criminal lifestyle, you better buy you a paid attorney.
So y'all heard that, right?
If you're in the
Did you hear
criminal
that?
lifestyle, please have you a paid attorney.
Y'all saving y'all last to get the Draco. You saving your last to get these rims on your car. You need to put your first up and get your lawyer retainer on deck, straight up, just like that.
So the public defender system is a laughable joke.
Now, I say that because, you know, to me it don't matter. You got a public defender, you got a paid lawyer.
Right.
Depending on who you are on the grade scale, it's who gonna get sent up the river. You know, they gonna
Well,
play the game
right
with the
now,
motherfucking prosecutor.
however,
all
if
that.
it's a issue to where the prosecutor owe the lawyer a favor or vice
You
versa, then
definitely
you
gonna
might
get
be
sold
just
out.
you
It's a possibility.
the product of that.
Yeah.
You know? However, if you got a paid attorney, that puts you in the class of being legally represented right
Yeah.
to where you have all your rights due to you. But if you get a public defender, then you might as well just say you doing it for nothing. Because the public defender sitting down with the prosecutor, they all in the same office, they underpaid, and they not going to represent you
Just going
and
through the
represent your rights to you. They will throw you under the bus. I had a public defender. As much as I thought I was selling crack and weed and all these things and shit, and I was a hustler and stuff, I barely could afford a public defender, and I couldn't afford one.
Yeah, that's how it be. On
So they
Friday.
gave me a public pretender.
Whoever it is.
If
that's
you hear
right.
all these podcasts or all these rappers talking about a public the pretender, let me tell you why they say that. They do not give a fuck.
That time.
Going through the motions.
They do not give a fuck. It's just not like you having no legal representation whatsoever
Not at all.
when you have a
Not
public
able to defend yourself.
defender.
But see, that's where a lot of dudes did smarten up. A lot of dudes smartened up and they hit that law library. When they hit that law library, they can study the law, understand what cases they can use with theirs, and that's how they work their public defender. So some
Yes, sir.
dudes can use the system for themselves to be able
Yes,
to
sir.
do what it is they need to do for
prevail.
themselves. But a lot of dudes ain't gonna do none of that. All they want to do is go work out all day, be in the next nigga cell, reading girly magazines, doing
Yeah.
this, that, and the other. They ain't
So
doing
let
what
me
they
tell you
supposed to
about
do
that.
to take care of themselves.
So let me tell you about that, right?
It's your life on the line.
you
man.
have
It
guys
really
that
matters.
you have different forms of suicide.
That's what it is.
If you don't physically commit suicide by hanging yourself or drinking something or things of that nature where you physically commit suicide, suicide can also be deemed as I have life without parole. I don't care about my case. I'm working out daily. I'm engaging in all the prison activities as far as the underworld in prison. I'm messing with homosexuals. I'm extorting dudes. I'm taking guys' stuff and whatnot. But I got this life without parole. But I done took my sentence of life without parole, 30 years, 50 years, life in prison, and I said, the hell with that life in prison. I'm going to live my life in here to where I done gave up.
Now, do you feel like you know all of this thing is one big design for us to fill the prisons up? You know,
Well-
the game, the field, the you know the environment. Do you feel like it was all designed for us to fill up the prisons?
Well, you have black incarceration. You have non-white incarceration. Statistics will show you that the non-white majority of the people of the planet Earth is the masses of the prison population here in the United States.
All right. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna jump into this video.
Yes, sir.
See, the video is basically somebody sent the letter in. I'm sure he probably know who it is, but they want to remain anonymous.
Yes, sir.
A letter was sent to Crazy Bone, and it was basically from somebody that was a part of the music scene a few years ago. Well, many years ago. This had to be like 30 years ago. So they said that they were told to, you know, since he was a top dog, A&R, whatever it is, of one of the music companies.
Yes, sir.
It was a bunch of top dogs from the different music companies brought together to be placed in a room to get some understanding about what was getting ready to happen. Can we cue that video up, please?
Get your popcorn, y'all.
Popcorn, get your pistols. No, sweat.
For real, though.
Quickly after this meeting began, one of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable and the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement.
Damn.
He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who receive funding from the government based on the number of inmates.
Mm-hmm.
The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons.
Mm-hmm.
It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies, and as employees, we'd also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic.
Right.
Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd, and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague, who opened up the meeting earlier, hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking out about this publicly, or even those who attended the meeting.
Damn.
I asked him, why was he involved with something so corrupt? And he replied, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we can do. No, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested as we walked back into the house. I remember word for word the last thing he said. It's out of my hands now. Just remember you signed an agreement. He then closed the door behind him. The men rushed us to our car and actually waited until we drove off the property.
Damn.
So this meeting, bro.
Now that's a lot for a meeting right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know.
Wow. As you can tell, what he say, it's bigger than rap. It's bigger than music, man. This shit is real big, man. That's why I say it's about design for us to be able to fill up the prisons to get all of these so-called big wigs paid in the long run.
Well, you know, I've heard these terms over the years which ring true, and it might fall on deaf ears because the average person out there that's living the so-called underworld life has no clue. Even citizens that work 9 to 5s or have a career don't understand the term mass incarceration.
Yeah,
They don't
It's real.
understand that term.
it's really real.
So when it's mass incarceration, or the term from the schoolyard pipeline to prison,
There it is.
meaning that the time you are born into this world, you are scheduled
To make that appearance, baby.
to make that appearance in the prison DOC, Missouri Department of Corrections during your lifetime as a black man.
Now, what we learn about the prison pipeline at?
Well, you are first set up.
No, where did we learn about it?
Well, first of all, you have to be an inquiring mind.
Do you remember?
Yes.
Now you remember where the first meeting of an NAACP inside the prison walls was at?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you know what I'm talking about then.
So, and I'm glad you brought that up. Me and my wife was talking about this.
yeah.
And I've joined the organization of the NAACP. Good organization.
Yeah.
And this is an organization from inside prisons, help prisoners try to justify their incarceration, meaning, how am I here? Was I illegally incarcerated? And if I was incarcerated, have I done enough time to be deemed to be returned to society?
Which in this day and age, they don't figure like a lot of us is meant to be back out here. They feel like they forced to let us out because of the stipulations of the law.
Because the stipulations of the law, meaning that prison is overcrowded and
Yeah.
it's not going to be conducive to the bottom line, meaning profit-wise.
They ain't making them no more money.
It's not making no.
So
I'm
that's why
I'm spending.
That's why they choose to make sure that the recidivism rate is an all-time high the way it is.
Well, here it go, right here. It's costing me more to keep this individual incarcerated because he now has health problems.
Yep.
She
That's
now has health problems. So to keep this inmate, this human being alive and functioning, it's costing me too much. So I should just let them go to fend for themselves because it's affecting my bottom line profit margin.
Now let me ask
Prison
you
is
this.
big business.
Oh, yeah,
Definitely
definitely.
big business. You right
Yes,
about that.
corporation.
Corporations, you know what I'm saying? But while you was doing all of your time in there,
Yes, sir.
right? I know you had to be in some places where it was some crooked COs.
Yes.
Now, did you ever think about losing your life without, or gaining more time behind whooping some of these COs? Because you know what happens on the regular in there.
Well,
It
you
happens
know,
on the regular. COs get their ass whooped in the joint if y'all don't want to know. Hey, and I'm
recently.
going to tell you this, though, too. I just seen a CO at a Walmart. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
So you know what I did? I pulled up, I had my Chiefs mask on.
Yeah.
I pulled up like, yeah, let me get one of them green peppers, too.
Yeah.
So he looking down. He about to give me a green. I said, nah, I want you to buy it. Pull my mask down.
Yeah.
He seen who I was. The man was
So-
like Road Runner, and his boots was still right there when he left. You hear me? He got the fuck up out of there because he knew the shit that he did wasn't right when he did what he did in the first fucking place.
So, I mean, to not be all long drawn out, right? these prisons are built in these rural areas that are impoverished, communities that are suffering. The economic is not flowing. The economy is not flowing good. So they build these prisons in these rural areas to bring up the economy.
Yeah.
So they hire guards from these rural areas. Now we talking about rural area America.
And they never seen.
Ain't never seen a black man or a woman in their lives.
No type of
And
way,
they
shape,
have
or form.
ideas.
certain
Already
ideals
about
or ideologies
Yeah.
about what they think
Definitely
about
do.
black men and women.
Definitely
So now here's this guard, because you've been hired for a service to overlook these inmates. So he or she comes with her isms, their baggage, and you bestow this upon the inmate.
Right. That's right.
So it been times where I had to endure real racism.
They
Definitely
having a bad
racism.
day.
I'm talking about
Make you
you
wanna
having a
slap the
bad
shit
day,
out of their
and not
ass.
only
Yeah.
that, you're not Trump, you're not Biden. So these rural area white folks, poor people, so that adds on to the frustration. You getting this job and you govern these inmates. So you in your baggage, you coming. So I have to endure that as well, as long as what the prison conditions offer me. So I had to endure that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But one thing I learned, and I will take this to the grave with me, is that the pen is mightier than the sword. Meaning that
They could very well
if
be
you
the
learn
case.
policies, if you learn
Policies
law,
and
if you
law.
learn all the things that's dealing with the legality of it, litigation of it, then you will put yourself in position to be
Win. To be
not
successful.
to win, but to guard yourself
You gonna guard yourself.
from racism, from politics,
You can
and
form
from
your attacks
anything
like
that
Yeah.
that will hinder you from getting free or hindering you from having a peace of mind in prison. Because in prison conditions are worse. Healthcare is a no-no. It's
Oh,
no
man.
such thing as healthcare.
Now you know though with that
First
healthcare
hand.
thing
No.
that see one of the things is when whoever this is on the regular every day
Yes, sir.
when people in the joint go to the nurse to the doctor whatever the case is, they are all fed the same types of drugs. You got a headache, here, take this.
Take a Tylenol. You got a broke
broken
leg, take a Tylenol. You have cancer, here's a
Take
Tylenol.
Now you know why that is, right?
It's the bottom line. I have to
costs- it
affect
costs
my
to treat
bottom
you.
line. I have to keep my bottom line
It
intact.
costs
What's
them
the
more
what's
to
the
treat you.
what's the number one money making scheme in America?
Cancer.
Pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceutical giants.
Pharmaceuticals. In America might be the world, but I know in America it's pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
So with
I
that being
legally
said,
distribute these
if
drugs.
I'm the one who makes the drugs and you're the doctor who gives the drugs away, I'm gonna make sure that for you giving all these drugs away, that I provide you and your family with trips, you get bonuses
they get
and all that because you done gave up, you made us meet this quota.
You done
plus
made us
for
meet
the
this
year.
quota.
Yeah.
You done made us meet this quota for this quarter.
So that's what
So
they-
I give
they
you
do.
a vacation.
I give you a
but
vacation.
Whose lives at the expense of what lives?
These
Inmates.
felons.
Right.
These felons.
See, when you're an inmate means you are a threat to society. You're not even human. You
There
a
you
third,
go.
fourth class citizen. You not even registered as a human
are
being when you are an
abnormal
inmate.
to society.
Don't nobody care about no inmate. You a vagabond.
There it is. There it is.
You worthless to society. Your life is nothing, and they treat you as such. This is a man that survived cancer in there, but I had to go senators, state representatives. I had to learn to fight with that pen in order to get adequate health care.
Right. So, since you've been home,
Yes, sir.
has it been difficult for you to adjust to how everything's changed, family,
Yes,
city, technology, just us as
Yes,
a people as a whole? What do you-
Man,
Well, I'll be the first to tell you, if there's any classes at these lower levels, which the lower levels that I've been in don't really care about your readjustment to society. If there's any tools that you can acquire before you come home, I really want to say that you should go after and get them, because it's been a struggle. Now, I told you my story earlier in the podcast that I was 16 years old when I caught this case.
Right.
So that 16-year-old boy was still there before I became incarcerated. So after 25 years, some of those issues of being that 16-year-old child was still there. So I brung all this baggage home. I didn't want to admit it. I didn't see it,
yeah.
though it exists. So me being a married man now, me being a family man now, I brought all this baggage into my marriage. Don't nobody want to see no 16-year-old person.
Yeah.
Don't nobody want to deal with him. That ain't what I signed up for. But love conquers all, is what they say. Meaning that we committed to each other, my wife and I. She didn't understand that this 16-year-old boy was coming full-fledged to her doorstep. Excuse me. To her doorstep.
Now, Miss X Factor,
Yes.
with that being said, do you feel like you've been able to help with the process of adjustment? Because I know it's a lot that, you know, when a man ain't been on the streets in 25 years, you know, it's a lot. You really kind of,
Can I say this before she answers?
you got to take baby steps out here.
Let me say this real fast. For guys who've done this much time, I think it's necessary for you to have a good support system.
Oh, yeah.
Whether
Yeah,
it's your
most
mama, your brother, your cousins,
Most
your
definitely.
homeboys that's in the positive things and whatnot, you have to have a good support
Because
system
9 times out
in
of 10, they're
place.
going to go back because that's what they used to.
Yes, sir.
This is too
Now go
hard
ahead.
out here.
Yes, sir.
I think I have been a big help with his adjustment because I think me and you talked about this before. Little things like going to the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? Like when y'all going to the grocery store weekly, it's already prepackaged because y'all
already
done filled it out on a piece of paper.
Come
You
on,
know what I'm
baby.
saying?
Talk
They
to
done
me.
Took it out y'all
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
So,
Straight up. We ain't got to
just,
deal with the people.
you know, just
Yeah.
being able to, because when he first came home, like, you got to show him how to use a debit card. We didn't have no debit cards in 96, you know.
They still have
people
food stamps in
had paper,
96.
had paper.
Cash
The
food
cash,
stamps.
the paper
and,
food
and a
stamps.
checkbook or some cash.
Yes,
you
sir.
know?
Yeah.
And then he ain't seen the new dollar bills.
Yeah.
Because you know how many
Change your
times
mind,
the money didn't change
Yeah.
since the last time he seen a dollar bill. So, or even the era, we not in a pager era no more. You know,
Everybody
we don't.
got phones.
Everybody got a hell. My grandson, 4 years old, with a cell
He
phone.
got a
Cell
phone.
phone.
But everybody got a smartphone, you know.
Yeah.
They don't have those
Ain't no more buttons on the
prepaid or
phones.
it's free after 7, you know. So there is a lot where I had to hold his hand.
Free after 7.
You know
That's
what I'm talking
old
about.
school.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, coming out into, and it's fast out here.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's definitely fast.
When you look at how it was versus when we was coming up, you know, and then how the millennials, oh man, it's I've been a lot of help for them.
So, to
God.
add to that real fast, when I'm preparing to come out of prison, you know, when you get an out date, when they say you are scheduled to be released on this date, they
You
send you
never
to a
thought it
lower
was
level.
going to happen, did you?
I always thought it was gonna happen. I never gave
No,
up.
no,
about that.
I
I
understand
always
you know it's
seen
gonna
the
happen,
light.
but it seems like that they just never gonna get here.
It's long and be coming, but I knew it was going to
you
come. I
always keep
seen
that.
that the light was dim at time, but the light was always on.
Yeah,
But to her point, DOC is about the bottom line. They don't care about rehabilitation.
I don't even know why they put that on.
So
on
they
the bill.
did not adequately prepare me for what was to come.
Yeah.
They didn't have programs or nothing like this in the prison that I was in prior to coming home. So now I'm coming out here. Now my wife got to teach me about technology. She got to teach me how the world is turning and how everything has evolved and how people are acting today. So I got to get acclimated to all these things non-conducive of DOC, which say they about rehabilitation.
Right.
That's a lie.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm coming out here with all this baggage, which I come to her and she's not ready for, but she adapted. So I'm coming out here now lost.
yeah.
So who is going to teach me? DOC didn't prepare me. Missouri Department of Correction didn't prepare me for what was to come. So now I'm coming out back into a world unprepared.
So I got a
So
question.
hold that thought. So if I'm unprepared and things start to be a burden to me, you want me to resort back to that old lifestyle? You want me to go back to what it was I
That's
knew?
what they don't want.
So I'm going leading into that as a follow-up.
Yes, sir.
What advice would you have for the next man or woman that's coming home next week?
What's
They
coming
got an
home?
out date. They be home next week. What advice?
Make
you
sure
have?
you have a good support system intact.
Talk to them. Tell them.
Make sure you have a good support system intact. If you need to talk to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, if you have a good best friend or what label you give these people who are positive influences in your life, do not disregard them.
Yeah, I ain't
Humble
got-
yourself.
You know, that's one of the stigmas with the black community. We're
Yeah.
scared to talk to people about what it is that we could talk to people about.
We had that
When-
stigma.
When
But
we
see,
talk,
that's
like if I talk to him,
people gonna downplay you instead of being that open ear, that shoulder. That's why a lot of us be afraid to speak our truths, because it be like, what you going? We've been
Yeah.
taught to
And
be
to add to
strong
that,
black,
when we
be
was
younger,
strong
we was
black.
allowed to
You
cry.
know,
Yeah.
Hurt
exactly.
yourself and fall.
Yeah,
Before,
you're
you know,
supposed to
yeah.
tough that up.
Supposed to tough that
you
up.
I was
know?
taught by those who now let's just be real here. Some of the things that our mothers and grandmas and grandpas taught us was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they was taught wrong.
Yeah, they
I'm
been-
a
it's
human
been
being. What you
a
mean I can't cry?
generation.
Yeah, you're right.
It's our right to cry. It's our right to vent. It's our right to have somebody that you confide into. The era in which I grew up, that make you a punk,
Yeah, you
a
soft.
sissy,
There you
that
go.
make you soft. What do you mean by that?
yeah,
Got to change our mindset, man.
Because I don't
It's
I don't
so
have the outlet. I'm trying to convey my words and my feelings, but I don't have nobody to convey that to. So if it's dangerous if you hold that in coming out
It
of
is
prison.
dangerous,
Oh my goodness, it is.
I just have an outlet. I have these guys here, and I have my wife, and I have several other outlets that I decide to engage in.
yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be like that, but it just happened to fall in my lap. And when I seen it, I identified what was going on and say, wait a minute. Yeah, I put up some rebellion because I'm going to find my way. I don't want to tell nobody what's going on. I don't know this. I don't know this new technology. I don't
You know
want to
what to
sound
be prepared
dumb.
for.
I don't
You-
want to
you
sound,
know-
hey.
You know what to look. You know what to tell a motherfucker what to be prepared for. You
Yeah.
know how to do that.
And
You ain't
then,
gotta tell them what to do. You just tell them what you know to look for.
and then not only that,
Yeah.
take your time.
Yeah,
It's no rush.
Right, it's a marathon.
Get your track shoes on.
Don't codepend on nobody. Codepend on
you know what? We since it's about our time, you know what I mean? I'm gonna ask you this last question though.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel like you're institutionalized?
In certain ways, yes. And what I mean by that is that I came home with a certain mentality, which has in turn caused strife in my marriage. Not with my homeboys, because I could put on a certain face. I don't have to deal with y'all nothing but a few hours. But I lay down with this woman every night. I brung this baggage home. Yeah, it has affected me. But once I identify through communication, this is why do not hold your feelings in. Whoever your outlet is, find you an outlet, somebody that you can confide in, somebody that you can trust. Mama, brother, girlfriend, neighbor, whoever it is. And you have to have these outlets in order to vent, in order to express some of the things that you've been feeling. But that takes courage.
That's what
Because
it
I
is.
had this persona
That's what it
that,
is.
don't nobody understand my 25 years. Well,
Yeah.
won't you talk? Open your mouth.
There it is.
Won't you say something?
Say
There it
something.
is.
You never know who can identify with what you are talking about or what you've been through. Somebody can give you some good advice. Somebody can be that psychiatrist or that psychologist that help you get through that day or give you a
Yeah.
word
Yeah.
that can help you prevail.
Yeah.
Wonderful talk, man. Appreciate y'all.
No, we gotta
Thank
thank
you.
you for coming through.
Coming
man.
on
Because
out.
you know
Thank
you
you
blessed
for
the
having
first
us.
show. The
Thank you
first
for
show, y'all
having us.
blessed the first show. You hear me?
Yeah.
That's what it is, man. You know, next week
Live and direct.
we're gonna give y'all some game on what y'all can do if y'all got some peoples that's on their way to the house. You got some whether they in the state or in the feds, it don't matter because it's different people around the town that they can connect with and basically put themselves in a position to be able to learn to do something better for themselves. So they ain't got to resort back to a life of crime.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's what we on around here, man. We trying to change the minds, to change the plan, so we can change the game, man.
Yeah.
I'm Raymann. This is my co-host,
I'm Big Lowe.
and we out of here, man. Holla at y'all next week. Opinion hated.
Much love, y'all.
Centric, 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 centric.